Hello and welcome to Tutors. This is the second video on Animal Kingdom. In the previous video, we have learned about the basis of classification, and in this video, we are going to discuss in detail about the non-chordate phylums. So let us begin. First, we will have a brief introduction about different phylums that are coming under kingdom Animalia. So we have phylum Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata, and finally the phylum Chordata. So today we are going to learn about phylum Porifera, Coelenterata, Ctenophora, Platyhelminthes, Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, and Hemichordata. Phylum Chordata shall be discussed separately as we have to learn more about phylum Chordata. So first we have phylum Porifera. Seeing the picture, we can understand that the phylum Porifera, they are also called sponges because they look like a sponge, and they are generally marine and mostly asymmetrical animals. They have a cellular level of organization. Now we have a special feature of sponges, which is the water transport system or water canal system. So what happens here is that water will enter through ostia, which are the minute pores that are located on these sponges, and then they will enter a central cavity called spongiocele, and finally the water will exit through an opening called osculum. So we have ostia, spongiocele and osculum. This pathway of water transport is helpful in food gathering, respiratory exchange and removal of waste. Next, we have choanocytes. What are choanocytes? These are also called collar cells that line the spongioceles and the canal. The digestion is intracellular. The body is supported by a skeleton made up of spicules or spongin fibers. So this is like an exoskeleton for them. Here the sexes are not separate, that is, they are called hermaphrodite. There are no separate male or female body. The fertilization is internal and development is indirect. It means that the fertilization is taking place inside the body of this organism and development is indirect. It means that there are many larval stages before acquiring the final adult form. So we have some examples. Sky, which is also called Scypha, Spongilla, commonly called freshwater sponge, and Euspongia, which is called bath sponge. You can see the pictures here. The first one is Cycon, the second one is Euspongia, which appears like a bath sponge, and third one is a Spongilla, which is also called freshwater sponge. In the next picture, you can see that there are many pores on the body. These are called osculum, and we have a cavity here which is called spongiocele, and then we have a bigger opening called osculum through which the water will exit. Next we have phylum Coelenterata or phylum Cnidaria. The Coelenterata is an older term. Now we call this Cnidaria. Phylum Cnidaria because this Cnidaria, the term is derived because of the presence of nidoblast or nidocytes. So what are nidoblast? These are they are a protective structure that is present for Coelenterata. You can see that picture there. It consists of stinging capsule called nematocyst. Okay, we will see that. They are aquatic, mostly marine, sessile or free swimming, and they are radially symmetrical animals. So we have discussed about the nidoblast. So the nidoblast, which consists of the stinging capsule called nematocyst, they are present on the tentacles and the body. The nidoblast are used for anchorage, defense, and for capture of prey. The cnidarians exhibit tissue level of organization. Remember, tissue level of organization, and they are diploblastic. So they have a central gastrovascular cavity and they have a single opening mouth called hypostome. So the digestion is extracellular and intracellular. So the cnidarians, they exhibit two basic body form. One is called polyp and the other is called medusa. Polyp means they are sessile and they have a cylindrical form. Like sessile means they are stationary. They have a cylindrical form like hydra. But the medusa form, they have an umbrella shape and they are free swimming. That is the difference between them, and it is seen in the case of jellyfish, or it is scientifically called Aurelia. Now, in case of some organism, they will exhibit both this polyp and medusa form, and this form is called metagenesis. That is, there is an alternation of generation. A polyp will produce medusa asexually, and medusae will produce the polyp sexually. You have to be familiar with this line because it is a very important line, because polyp will produce medusa asexually and medusa will produce the polyp sexually. And the one showing metagenesis example is Obelia. Examples are Physalia, which is also called Portuguese man of war, Adamsia, sea anemone, Penadula, sea pen, Gorgonia, sea fan, and Meandrina, brain coral. So you can see the picture here. The first one is exhibiting a medusa form, which is free swimming and umbrella shaped, and example is jellyfish. The second one is sea anemone. In the top you can see it has a polyp form and it is sessile. So there we complete phylum Coelenterata. Next we have phylum Ctenophora. Now this phylum Ctenophora, they are also called sea walnut or comb jellies, because you can see they have an appearance like that. They are exclusively marine, radially symmetrical, diploblastic organisms, and they have a tissue level of organization. You can see here that the body bears 8 external rows of ciliated comb plates. You can see in the picture there are 8 rows of these comb plates which help in its locomotion. These are structures that help in the locomotion. Digestion is both extracellular and intracellular, and they exhibit a special property called ctenophores. They exhibit a special property called bioluminescence. That is a property of the organism. It is a property of a living organism to emit light. Here the sexes are not separate, that is, they are hermaphrodites, and the reproduction takes place only by sexual means. So fertilization is external and the development is indirect with the help of many larval stages. So examples here are Pleurobrachia and Ctenoplana. So you can see the bioluminescence that is exhibited by Ctenophora, which is a very distinguishing feature for the Ctenophora. All these phylums are having a very characteristic feature, and for Ctenophora this is bioluminescence and the presence of comb plates. For Coelenterata or Cnidaria, it was the presence of those the cnidocytes or the cnidoblast, and for Porifera it was about this water canal system, the water transport system. So next we have phylum Platyhelminthes. The phylum Platyhelminthes, they are also called flatworms because they have a dorsoventrally flattened body. So these are mostly endoparasites that are found in animals including human beings. The flatworms, they are bilaterally symmetrical and acoelomate animals. They are triploblastic and they show organ level of organization. So we have started the triploblastic level of organization here, and also they are having an organ level of organization. Hooks and suckers are present on the parasitic form that help in absorbing nutrients from the host directly into their body surface. And they have some specialized cell called a flame cell that help in excretion and osmoregulation. The sexes are not separate. Fertilization is internal and the development is indirect through many larval stages. Some members like planaria they have very high regeneration capacity. That is, if their body is cut into many pieces, from all these fragments we will get new organisms. That is a property of regeneration. Examples are Taenia, that is tapeworm, and Fasciola, that is liver fluke. Can see the picture here. The first one is Taenia or tapeworm and the second one is a liver fluke. So you can see this picture of the flatworm here. Next we have phylum Aschelminthes. Aschelminthes, they are also called roundworms because when we take a cross section their body will be circular. They are free living aquatic. They may be free living, aquatic and terrestrial or parasitic in plants and animals. They have organ system level of organization. So you have to remember in Platyhelminthes we had organ level of organization. Now here we are starting the organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, and they are pseudocoelomate animals. So these are the only group we are having here which are pseudocoelomates. Then they have the alimentary canal is complete with a well-developed muscular pharynx. They have an excretory tube which removes the waste from the body cavity, and then finally it is excreted out through the excretory pore. They are dioecious. It means the sexes are separate. And often the females are longer than the males. The fertilization is internal and the development may be direct or indirect. In direct development, the young ones directly resemble the adults. Examples here are Ascaris, that is roundworm, Wuchereria, that is filarial worm, and Acyclostoma, that is hookworm. Wuchereria, it causes a disease called filariasis. Okay, this roundworm infection are common in children. So you can see this is the roundworm. Here the females are very longer when they are compared to the males. Next we have phylum Annelida. Phylum Annelida, they may be aquatic, that is marine and freshwater, or terrestrial, free living, or sometimes parasitic also. They exhibit organ system level of body organization. They have a bilateral symmetry, triploblastic, and they are metamerically segmented. So the term this annelida means annulus or rings. It is due to the presence of these metamerically segmented parts, and these parts are called metameres. Okay. So they are coelomate animals. So this is the first group from which we have coelomate animals. That is, their body cavity is lined by mesoderm. Next we can see that they possess both longitudinal and circular muscles that help in their locomotion. The aquatic annelids like nereis, they possess lateral appendages called parapodia that help in swimming. A closed circulatory system is present, that is, the blood is confined within the blood vessels. Nephridia is the structure that help in the osmoregulation and excretion. We have already mentioned about this flame cells that are present in Platyhelminthes that help in the excretion and osmoregulation. Here it is nephridia. So the neural system, it consists of paired ganglia that are connected by lateral nerves to a double ventral nerve cord. We shall discuss more about this when we talk about chordata, about the difference of neural system between the chordates and non-chordates. Here, nereis, which is an aquatic form, is dioecious. Dioecious means sexes are separate, but in earthworm and leeches, they are monoecious. That is, the male and the female reproductive structures, they are present within the same organism. Here, the reproduction is sexual. Example Nereis, Ferretima, that is the earthworm, and Hirudinaria, that is the blood-sucking leech. Next we have the phylum Arthropoda. Phylum Arthropoda. Arthropoda means jointed appendages. So these are organisms with jointed appendages. Phylum Arthropoda is the largest phylum of kingdom Animalia, which includes the insect. They have an organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, segmented, and coelomate animals. The body of arthropods is covered by a chitinous exoskeleton. They have an exoskeleton and it is chitinous. They are made up of chitin. And the body consists of three parts: head, thorax, and the abdomen. They have jointed appendages, and we have the respiratory organs like gills, book lungs, or the tracheal system. So you can see the different kinds of insects that are included under kingdom Animalia. Under this phylum Arthropoda. Sensory organs like antennae or eyes. Eyes may be simple eye or compound eye. And statocyst or the balance organs are also present here. The excretion will take place through Malpighian tubules. Please note these excretory structures of this organism. It is through the Malpighian tubules. They are mostly dioecious. That is, the male and the female are separate. Fertilization is usually internal and they are mostly oviparous. Oviparous means they lay eggs. The development may be direct or indirect. That is, with or without the help of a larval stage. Next we have some examples here, like economically important insects are apis, honeybee, bombyx, silkworm, and laxifer, lac insect. Vectors are Anopheles culex and Aedes mosquitoes that are responsible for causing many diseases like malaria and dengue. And next we have the gregarious pest Locusta and the living fossil, which is Limulus or king crab. It means that organism has been present for a long time. Next we have phylum Mollusca. Mollusca means soft-bodied animals. So these organisms, they have a very soft body. It is the second largest animal phylum and these may be terrestrial or aquatic. That is, they may be marine or freshwater and they have an organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, and coelomate animals. Here the peculiarity: the body is covered by a calcareous shell and is unsegmented with a distinct head, muscular foot, and a visceral hump. You can see we have a head, muscular foot, and in between that we have a visceral hump. Next we have a soft and a spongy layer of skin that forms a structure called mantle over this visceral hump. Now the space between the mantle and the visceral hump is called the mantle cavity, which possesses some feather-like gills. The gills, they have a respiratory and excretory function. The anterior head, you can see, as in the case of the snail, it has sensory tentacles. And the mouth consists of a file-like rasping organ called radula that helps for feeding. So these are examples of mollusca. Here you can see the first one is pila or snail and the second one is octopus, which you are familiar with. Pila is also called apple snail. They are dioecious and oviparous with an indirect development. Examples are pila, also called apple snail, pinctada, which is called pearl oyster, sepia, cuttlefish, which is not actually a fish, loligo, squid, octopus, devilfish, aplysia, sea hare, dentalium, tusk shell, and Chaetopleura, chiton. So you have to try to remember these examples if you are preparing for some competitive examination because these can be asked. Phylum Echinodermata. Phylum Phylum Echinodermata, they have endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles. They have an endoskeleton which is made up of these ossicles that are calcified. Now they have an organ system level of organization. The adult echinoderms are radially symmetrical, but the larvae are bilaterally symmetrical. So we have this, actually the echinoderms, they include the groups of starfish. Now you know these starfishes, they will be radially symmetrical, but their larvae, it is actually bilaterally symmetrical. They are triploblastic and coelomate animals. The digestive system is complete with the mouth on the lower side and the anus on the upper side. The water vascular system is the most distinctive feature of the echinoderms that helps in locomotion, capture, transport of food and respiration. Do not confuse it with the water canal system that is present in the porifera. This is the water vascular system. The excretory system is absent here. So you can see these different kinds of echinoderms here. Not only the starfishes, we have different organisms. We will be discussing the examples later. And the sexes are separate here, and the reproduction is sexual. Fertilization is external, that is, it takes place in an external environment. The development is indirect with a free swimming larva, and specially reminding it is bilaterally symmetrical. Examples are Asterias, which is a starfish, Echinus, sea urchin, Antedon, sea lily, Cucumeria, sea cucumber, and Ophiura, which is a brittle star. So here we have the picture of Asterias and Ophiura. You can see that there are many the names, common names are starting with C here. Similarly, in the case of the Coelenterata, we had many organisms whose common name is starting with C, SEA. And phylum Hemichordata. Initially, phylum Hemichordata was considered under as a subphylum under Chordata, but now it is kept like a separate phylum. It consists of a small group of worm-like marine animals. They have an organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and coelomate animals. The body is cylindrical. That is, they have three parts: an anterior proboscis, a collar, and a long trunk. The circulatory system is of open type. That is, the blood is freely flowing into this blood cavity, body cavity. The respiration is with the help of gills. And the excretory organ, remember, it is important, excretory organ is the proboscis gland. Sexes are separate and the fertilization is external. The development is indirect through the help of larval stage. Examples are Belanoglossus and Saccoglossus. So you can see the picture of Belanoglossus there. In the top, what we have a anterior proboscis. Next we have a collar, and then it has a long trunk. So here we have completed all the phylums except the phylum Chordata, which we shall be discussing in detail in the next video. That's all. Thank you.